Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Colorado is recognized.
I thank the chairman. Chair Khan, thank you for being here. Do you own stock in Apple, Amazon, Facebook, or Google?
No.
Do you own stock in any of the competitors to those companies?
I do not.
Do you know that the ethics official who requested that you recuse yourself from any activities involving Facebook owned stock in Facebook?
I learned about that, yes.
Do you know how much it costs to buy Congress? Well, big tech does. They spent $250 million against the bills that passed out of this committee last Congress. They spent money lobbying. They spent money on advertising in members' districts. They spent money with third-party think tanks. They spent money that no other effort in recent memory certainly has been spent. And it's not just the money that they spent, but on lobbying, for example, Meta spent, and I call it Facebook, $20,070,000, Amazon $19,320,000, Alphabet $11,770,000, Apple $6,500,000. But it's not just the money that they spent on lobbying and those activities. On June 18th, 2021, just 5 days before the markup hearing of the big tech bills in this committee, Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's tech investor husband, bought 4,000 shares of Alphabet via a call option in which he promised stocks at a later date at a price of $1,200 a share. A month later, now this is after we've passed the bills, but Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker, sent Steny Hoyer, the Majority Leader, to the press to tell the press that these bills were not ready for the floor. A month later, the stock price rose to over $2,500, making Paul Pelosi $5.2 million richer without spending a penny. Speaker Pelosi's office, it should be noted, issued a statement denying any involvement or prior knowledge of the transaction. The fact remains that she refused to bring to a vote on the House floor those bills that resulted from an 18-month-long investigation. We had last year, as a result of Congresswoman Jayapal's efforts and my efforts and some other efforts, a stock ban in the House, a ban that would prohibit members from buying individual stocks. You probably also don't know that more than 50 members of Congress bought stocks in pharmaceutical companies during the COVID crisis when Congress immunized, a good term, I guess, to use during the COVID crisis, immunized pharmaceutical companies if there was any problems with the vaccines that they created. But we can't pass a stock ban, but we can call you into Congress and suggest that somehow you shouldn't be involved in activities involving some of these companies because you wrote a law review article. Do you have a child? I don't want you to answer that question just yet because that's personal. Do you have a child who is lobbying for Amazon or Facebook?
No, he's turning 6. He's turning 6 months this week, so no.
Okay.
They'd probably still hire him.
Yeah. If they thought they could influence you, they would hire your child at 6 months old because, in fact, they've hired Senator Schumer's daughters to lobby for them. And the same bills that passed the House the same bills that passed the House Judiciary Committee passed the Senate Judiciary Committee and never saw the light of day on the Senate floor either. But that's just how the game goes. You're well aware of the need to update the antitrust laws concerning the new economy that we are facing. And I'd just like you, if you could, briefly to explain what is the need? Why is it so difficult to apply antitrust laws written at the turn of the last century to the new economy?
Thanks, Congressman. So there is antitrust doctrine on the books that has embedded within it certain economic assumptions about how certain markets work, about what types of incentives businesses face. That doctrine in some cases is 30 years, 40 years old, way before we had the advent of digital markets. These digital markets function differently, right? You have the self-reinforcing advantages of data, network externalities, companies face different incentives, they're engaged in different strategies, and sometimes there can just be a gap between how the doctrine is saying businesses are acting and what we see in reality. And so legislative updates can be needed to close that gap between what the theory says or what the doctrine says and what we're all living with in actual markets. And so that's in particular where legislative action can be absolutely critical.
Gentleman's time has expired.